Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. I'm going to be reading some books. All right, if you've been here, you know that I've been trying to reduce the number of books that I still have left to read on my TBRs. And right now, as of today, I have 60 books that I have chosen from my overall TBR to be read on certain game TBRs that I have played. Minus 16 of those 60 books are for a specific reading blog. So 6 of them technically are for one reading blog. And then 10 of them are just NetGalley books. So they're not books that I have specifically chosen to go on to a TBR. However, I need to read them because I requested them. And so I want to read them. So what I have done is I have taken all 60 of these books. Technically, this is only 54 books because I am not going to show you the 6 books that are just for the video, the secret project. So you only get to see the 54 books that are right here. I would like to read as many of these as I possibly can for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be traveling and I'm getting ready to go. And so we're just going to go through as many of them as I can read. And what better way than to play a game? This is Bailey's game called Jokes on Me. Now, you take a regular standard deck of cards, which is what I have. Actually, this deck of cards is from my son, and it's Lord of the Ring themed. I don't know how much you can see, but so the things are very cool inside here. And it does have the jokers because one of the things, this one says the Fellowship and Middle Earth on the card. But one of the things that you have to do is if you get a joker, you start over. And we're trying to make it around the board. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. I've shuffled these quite a few times. So let me tell you how I'm going to play it. I'm going to start in one of these corners. I'm going to ask my phone to give me a number 1 to 4. And we're just going to go like 1, 2, 3, 4. And whatever it says, that's where we start. Pick a number 1 to 4.
It's 1.
Okay, so we're starting right over here where it says reread a random number. First, we have to draw a card. That's just where my little mouse is going to start. And that'll be the last prompt that I do. Or maybe it will be. I don't know. My thing that I'm thinking right now is when I get all the way around the board, then I will get to take one of these 54 books and be like, not right now. And I can move it off of the TBR and put it back on storygraph, and it can stay there for the next game that I play. It'll be eligible to be chosen. So that is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to draw one card. As you can see, all the rules are on here. So if I draw a 2, whatever prompt I land on, which will be a readathon book, it says do the prompt twice. So I will read 2 readathon books. And that's not for a readathon book. That's for her to actually do a readathon. But I've had to tweak a few of the rules from the way Bailey does it. Please don't forget to check out her channel. I'm going to put it down below. But this is such a cool game. Then if I roll a 3, it says do all 3 prompts. And what that means is 1, 2, 3. I have to do all 3 of the prompts to get me to number 3. So that'll be 3 books. If I roll a 4, I'm moving backwards 4. So I'm going to start out already in the wrong spot. I know I'm saying roll, but I clearly mean the card. If I draw a 6, I move forward 3 and I do what that says, and then I move forward 3 more and I do what that says. So 2 prompts if I roll a 6. 7 says jump across the board. What she said was if you folded the board in half, whatever your square is touching is where you would go. And then 8 says do the opposite. So if it's listed as a first book, you do the other book. If I see random color is up there, then whatever the color is, I'll choose the opposite color on the color wheel from that color. That kind of thing. If it's a joker, I start over like we already said. I am going to have a jack instead of unhaul. I'm going to have a jack be a free pick for me so that I get to choose whatever I want to choose, to read whatever I want to read off of the 54. And what I will probably honestly do is randomize it and then just get one off of here. And then Queen and King is buy a book, which is nice because there's a couple books on here that I do actually have to pay for to be able to read them. to be able to read them on audio. Okay. One last shuffle. One more, like, cutting the deck. Let's do that one more time. And here is our first card. Oh my goodness. It's the King of Spades. So since it's a king, I get to buy a book. Okay, so it looks like it's going to end up being Judas Kiss right here by J.T. Ellison. I apparently do not have that on Libby, and I could not find it on another platform that I use. So I'm going to have to use an Audible credit for it. So that is going to be the one that I'm going to buy, and then that is the next one that I'm going to read. So I'm going to be reading Judas Kiss, but the bad news is I'm not moving any further on my little map over here. Okay, I'm going to use like a little stack of books to be my marker. And so I'm going to put it right here, which is where I still am. So I get to go read a book, but that does not help me get around this board and get to mark anything off. So I'm going to put the king in a separate spot so that I don't draw it again next time. I'm not sure if that's how she does it or not. I may need to go find out. I'll just ask her if that's how she does it. But anyway, I'll check back here once I've read Judas Kiss. Maybe I'll be on my phone. If I have already left to go travel, it'll be on my phone. If I'm still here, it'll be right here, just like this. But anyway, I will check in with Judas Kiss, which is on my 50 before 50 list, so that makes me very happy. Okay, I am almost finished with Judas Kiss, and Judas's kiss is like betrayal, like it's ultimate betrayal or whatever. And so we just find out there's so many storylines in this book. I can't talk a lot about it. It is the middle of a series. I think it's book 3 in the Taylor Jackson series that I've been reading for my 50 before 50. So I can't tell you everything that happens, but Taylor and Baldwin, we get to hear more of Baldwin's POV, which is her fiance. And so I really like that. Like, they're engaged at the beginning of the first book, so that's not giving anything away. But anyway, so I like that we got more of his perspective. We also get to find out just some secrets that she has, secrets that he has, secrets that other people have about them. And anyway, I'm almost finished. Like, I have less than an hour left. So I am going to go ahead and do my next draw because I'm going to be in the bed when I finish this. And I do not want to have to come down here to get the cards to do my next one. So I'm going to go ahead and do my next one now. I have shuffled a couple of times, but I'm going to shuffle one more time here for y'all. And then I will draw. Oh, a 10. So that means nothing except I move 10 spaces. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Book club. That would have worked really well when I had a book for a book club. Here are my list of books. Judas Kiss right here, I just finished. And now I'm looking at all of these books, and I do not think any of them fits book club. You know what? I could take Book Scavengers and make it work for book club because there is a book club in the book. Even though that book is not a book club book, I mean, that's the way that Bailey plays it, but that doesn't have to be the way I play it. I'm going to read Book Scavenger, and I'm going to count that as a book club book. Okay, I am halfway finished. First of all, I finished Judas Kiss. It was nothing else extraordinary happened at the end of it, just like I knew it would, although things kind of resolved themselves in a way that leads us into whatever's happening next. And I see a lot of similarities in the Taylor Jackson series and the In Death series, although they're both police procedurals focused on a female cop or a detective who is a lieutenant, and they're both like strong women. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'm just drawing parallels because those things are similar. So of course, a lot of the other stuff will be similar, but, I think that J.D. Robb or Nora Roberts has done a better job of creating side characters that feel really real. There are a couple of characters around Taylor Jackson that I connect with and I like, which I'm only on book 3. I don't know why I'm even trying to compare. I've read 3 Taylor Jackson books. I've read 58 In Death books. So I shouldn't even try to compare them. But anyway, Taylor Jackson, I love that I chose this. I'm really happy that I chose this series to be part of my 50 Before 50. It makes me happy when I get to read one, even though sometimes they're terrifying. And we had a murder where a pregnant woman, was killed in her house, bludgeoned in her head, and her infant daughter was just left in the house. So, yeah, it was bad. Anyway, and we circled all the way back around to find out who the killer was and all kinds of stuff. So, anyway, that one was done. And then I started Book Scavengers, or I continued. I had already started reading it on an ebook. It's on Kindle Unlimited. And I am just over 50% of the way through. This book is just so cute. Like, if you have a reader, a middle grade reader, I think they would love this book. There's so many, like, especially if they like secret codes and ciphers, because that's all this is. Like, this so reminds me of the 39 Clues books and that whole series that I loved, that I'm just like, I cannot recommend this more. If you've got a middle grader who likes to read and who likes coding and stuff, or codes and ciphers, this is their book for sure. The premise of this whole thing is like geocaching with books. So if you know what geocaching is, that's a real thing in our world, and you go hide something. It literally doesn't matter what it is. I picked up this. Nobody's hiding a sticky note pad. I don't know why I picked that up. But anyway, you pick something to go hide. You can even buy these little tags, and you hide like a little tiny eraser man, like a little decoration of some kind. And you put it in anything. The most common one used to be old 35 millimeter film canisters, the little round canister with the little top on it. They were really small. Anyway, and you would go hide those, and you would put something inside it that lets people sign it in some kind of way. And you just hid it anywhere, out in the woods, next to a building. I mean, generally not on private property, but wherever you wanted to hide it. And then you left clues/coordinates to it on the geocaching website. I don't know why I'm saying you did this, because it's still happening right now. You can still do this right now. Anyway, and then when you wanted to go geocache in your area, you would just pull it up on the app or on the computer, and you would find some locations in your area where people had hidden things, and you would go out and find them, and you sign the book saying, I found it. I guess you still sign a thing if there's one there. I don't know. I have not geocached in a really long time. But in this book is a book version of that. And I love it. And I was talking about it with my kids, and I was like, I don't know how we would do it, because I feel like now, where would you hide the books that, number one, they wouldn't just get thrown away by somebody, like seeing a random book laying around somewhere and be like, well, that's got to get cleaned up? Or how would you hide it where it didn't get destroyed by weather? Like, I just feel like books are way less hardy than like a little piece of plastic that you're sharing with people. I don't know. Anyway, it's such a cool premise, though, that you can hide books and people find them. Anyway, this guy who created the Book Scavenger website, which is where you go to log the books that you have hid or that you want to find, and he has been attacked and is in a coma. And our main character stumbles upon a book at the BART station, which is the San Francisco Underground, I guess. I don't know. I've never been there. But she finds the book, and she decodes the cipher that's in there, and thus begins her trying to solve the new puzzle that was put out by the creator just before he was attacked. So it's so good so far. And I know there are other books in this series, like I've seen the titles of them. So I'm really hoping that this at least gets wrapped up in this story, and I'm not left on like a cliffhanger. But anyway, I am so ready to draw another card and see what's next on the board, that I am definitely going to make some time today before I go to bed tonight to try to finish this book. So let me get off here and get my work done so I can go read like we all want to do. I'll be back. Okay, I am almost finished with Book Scavengers. I did want to show you that I made a little, let me scoot this over some, hopefully. There we go. Okay, I'm barely taking up any part of it. So I made this with all the books on it. And as you can see from this one a little bit better, there are 4 things crossed out. Even though I've only read 2 books, I have 4 things crossed out. And that's because Some of those are graphic novels that I have on NetGalley, and I am reading those separately for another video that you have probably already seen. Yeah, you've definitely already seen it because that's going to go up before this. Anyway, I'm going to take the 10 and King that I have already chosen. Those are staying out. And I'm going to go ahead and pick my next book. I didn't finish Book Scavengers yet. Yes, it's marked off on here, and yes, it's over here, but I didn't quite finish it yet but I'm about to go get in my car and go somewhere, and I'm going to be gone as long as it's longer than it's going to take for me to finish the book. So I need to know what I'm reading next. Also, I just realized I didn't have my mic over here, so I'm sure that it sounded gross. Anyway, we got a 9. Which is also nothing. Like, look how many of those numbers have extra things. And I keep drawing things that have nothing. 7, 8, 9. Someone else's last 5-star. Oh my goodness. All right, here are my books. So, what do I know that someone else has given a 5-star to recently? I mean, I guess I'm going to have to go with Fourth Wing, because I know there are a lot of people who have given that a 5-star recently. So I'm going to go with Fourth Wing. Now, if you're wondering how Fourth Wing is on this list when you've never seen it in a previous TBR game, if you've been watching them all, it is actually what I picked for my mood read for the M&M TBR. So right here in the middle, I had a mood read that I got to pick. And I literally was looking on my Libby like 2 days ago. And I was like, let me look up Fourth Wing, because I saw somebody else do a review about it. And I was like, I'm sure as popular as it is, it has so many holds. No. The audiobook specifically, now the Kindle book or the ebook did have a holds, but the audiobook did not. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to grab it. That was, like I said, 2 days ago. I looked at it this morning and there are 7 people waiting on a copy of this book. So I don't know if I just found it in like a really good time where people had all turned their books in, or I don't know. But I want to go ahead and read it so that all the people that are waiting can get it. And I know, like I said, that it has definitely been people's recent 5-star reads. I don't know a lot about it, so I'll check in, I'm sure, because this book is so popular that I really want to know what everybody's deal is with this book. Like, why are they so obsessed with it? So let me copy it, and I'm going to put it over here since it's going to be the next one that I read. There we go. And I'll just check back in. I'll tell you how Book Scavengers went, because like I still don't know what's going to happen at the very end. Like I already said previously, I don't know if we're going to be on some kind of cliffhanger that you then have to read book 2, or if just the overall clues that the head guy of Book Scavengers left. I'm assuming we're going to continue with those, because there's no way they solved this quickly. Like, they don't have enough time left in the book to solve it. But I've thought that before about movies and TV shows and been like, they need to come on, they don't have very long. And then they somehow solve it. So maybe they will, maybe not. I don't know. I also just realized that I'm wearing a pair of glasses and I have a pair of glasses on my head. So if you notice that, no, you didn't. And that's it. I'll check back in after I've read some more Book Scavengers finished Book Scavenger and read some of Fourth Wing. I'm kind of excited about it. I want to know what everybody likes about it so much. So anyway, here I go. Okay, new day, new hoodie. I have quite a few updates, or maybe not quite a few, but a couple of things to update. Number 1, I did finish Book Scavengers. Also, I know I said they don't have time to wrap up the whole thing. They totally did. Anyway, it was so good. I have definitely added book 2 onto my want to read list. I will be continuing with the series. It was just really cute. I really liked it. I liked the discussions about how she and her brother feel about the fact that their family moves all the time. So I know I haven't said this, but their parents want to live in all 50 of the U.S. states. And so their mom has even proposed a book of like 50 states, 50 houses in 50 states or something like that. And so they live there for an undetermined amount of time. They live in each state before their parents surprise them with where they're going next by giving them clues about it. Well, it was fun when she was little, and now that she's getting older, she's like, this is not fun anymore, and I don't like moving, and I want to stay where we are. And so they end up in San Francisco at the beginning of this book. And so we see how she comes to terms with the fact that they're going to be moving all the time, at the same time that her parents realize that maybe the surprise life and the let's move because we feel like it is not appealing to their children. So there's a really good discussion in there about that really connected with me, because that's kind of what I've done to my own children, is move them around. And granted, I don't get to choose where we're going. It doesn't get to be some big surprise where I get to say, oh, guess where we're going and here are the cool things about it. It's more of like, okay, here's where your dad's job is sending us and this is what we have to do. And so we have had to do that for our kids' entire lives. And just to hear from the kids' perspective, I mean, I know I hear from my own children's perspectives a lot, but anyway, it was just something that connected with me. I really liked it. Then I started Fourth Wing, as you all saw. I am 65% of the way through this book, and I have some thoughts. Number one, I was expecting it to be way more YA-ish than it is. Not to say that it's not necessarily a YA book. It's definitely about a girl who is going to a school, and I almost always associate those with like young adult or new adult, but this feels more adult to me. Clearly, they're all adults, the people who have been at the school. We don't get a lot of discussion about exactly how old they are. I'm sure somebody said it along the way, and I just have not remembered it. But our main character's name is Violet, and I love so much that the little nickname that one of the guys has for her is Violence. Like, he just calls her Violence. But this is a combination of a couple of tropes that I think work really well together in this kind of setting. And the chosen one, like literally you are they finish all of these trials and these testings, and then they pretty much walking the gauntlet of dragons, and then the next week or the next test, the dragons choose them, who's going to be their chosen one. So it kind of goes along with that trope where like, you're the greatest rider of our time. And I mean rider, R-I-D-E-R, dragon rider of our time. And then we definitely have the underdog trope. She's tiny. She never wanted to do the fighting or the riding. She wanted to be a scribe like her dad. She worked and trained to be a scribe. And then when the time came, her mom was like, oh, no, you're going to be a rider. What I don't understand about that is she's the youngest of 3 children. Like, her mom had plenty of time to be like, you know, all of my children are going to be writers. And so it's so weird to me that she feels like it was sprung on her. And so anyway, that's the part that I'm like, Also, you know, there always has to be a love triangle in one of these YA-ish books. And I was really worried about it because at the very beginning, we were already introduced to 2 guys who I knew were going to be the other parts of the triangle. And I hate it. I hate those things so much. I don't think they're ever done really well where it feels like a true love triangle, where I don't end up having a hard time connecting with one because it feels to me like there's not a good reason to break up or split up with the other one that you love. So I usually steer clear of them. I hate them in books, honestly. But this was more like a love triangle tease than an actual love triangle. And so that worked so much better for me. It's not over. I mean, I'm 65% of the way through the book, but I can kind of see where it's going, and I'm okay and happy with where it's going. I know that people have talked about how explicit this book is, but maybe that's in the last 35% because so far we've had a couple of kisses and that's about it. So I don't really know. And I think that's all right now for my update. I do I do understand why people like it, especially if you like Sarah J. Maas and you like the ACOTAR side of her writing. I think that you would really, really enjoy this. And I don't know who I'm talking about because I feel like Sarah J. Maas people already know about Fourth Wing. I'm not giving anybody any information that they don't already have. But if you've been holding off on it because you were worried about some aspect of it, 65% of the way in, I'm not finding issues. I also think that the author might be a military spouse like me. So I was like, I know she didn't talk about deployments in her little intro part. What? So in her dedication to her spouse. I thought that was cute. Anyway, yeah, that's it. This is going to be the last one that I'm going to finish, and then we'll talk about it, and then that'll be a wrap on round 1 of Jokes on Me. I know I'm going to be playing 2 more rounds during my trip/vacation. Yeah, I thought that I was going to kick this off and then leave, and none of the rest of them would be here at my house, and now I've ended up doing a whole round here at my house. So, and it's not a round, it's just the first video. I just don't want to make these videos, an hour long. So I will be back to check in when I've finished Fourth Wing, and then I'll kick off the next video with whatever my next card is after that. So I will see you back here when I finish. Okay, I finished Fourth Wing. I really enjoyed this. Like, before I started it, I went into it thinking like, people have hyped this up, and granted, it is not the best. However, here's what it is. It is very accessible to people who have read nothing but romantasy, or who have not read any fantasy at all and they're trying to like get into the genre. It is so accessible. It has magic systems that we kind of understand just from growing up in the world that we're in. There's not a complicated magic system. We are primarily focused on one character. Yes, she has quite a bit of side characters around her, but it's predominantly one character that we're dealing with. And it's a coming of age story, also a coming into your own like power and the things that you can do. Like, she's stronger than she thought she was. Okay, I'm sorry. I just realized I cannot stand that I wear my glasses and then all you can see is the reflection of my thing. So I don't know. I've got new glasses on the way. Maybe they won't do that. Anyway, or maybe I just turn this monitor off every time before I film because my camera sits right on top of the monitor. Anyway, that does not matter. Fourth Wing. I think it's fantastic I think it's just a really good fantasy book with romance in it. If you're reading this for the romance, you're not getting that till 75% of the way through the book. So I don't know that is necessarily why you would pick this up, but if you want a fantasy like one step up from YA, so a little bit more mature characters, we did eventually find out she's 20 and the love interest, the main one anyway, is 23. The other one is 21. But let's look at what our board looks like. Okay, I'm down here. I'm not covering anything up. I can't believe I only did 3 books in this whole game that I was trying to play. But I think what that means is when I start the next round, which is going to be right now, as soon as I end this video, I'm going to start the next round. I think I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 cards at a time, and then I can just check in after each book. That's usually how Bailey does it as well, is do 3 draws at a time. But I was thinking that might give me too many books, but I've drawn 4 times now. And I only have 3 books. Maybe I've only drawn 3 times because every time I got a book, right? Okay, yeah. So I've drawn 3 times and gotten 3 books. So that's what I'm going to do for the next one. And we'll just see what happens. I hope I get something cool other than what I've gotten every time so far. So that is going to do it, though, for this video. I will leave all of Bailey's stuff linked down below. So please go check her out. This is a very cool game that I really like to play. Let me know what you think about Fourth Wing specifically. Have you read it? And if you're avoiding it because you think it's an overhyped bit of nonsense, I will say give it a shot. Give it a shot. If anything that I have said about it sounds good, I think you should read it. Also, it ends in such a way that you want to pick the next book up immediately. And I can't do that because we all know the giant list of books that I still have to read. But maybe if I get a mood read, I can grab it and throw it on there. Anyway, if I had read this and then had to wait for the next book to come out, I might be upset about it. But the next book is out already for me. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.